Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another narrated Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. Today's battle is a never-used match I had against an opponent by the name of Toivo8, and I'm using a team in this battle which is basically functioning around paralysis. It's something that I came up with recently, and I realized that I had a bunch of guys in my box that could actually do this really well and also work really well together as a whole. So just to talk a little bit about this team, now I know some people like using Trick Room to make slow things fast, but I like using paralysis to make fast things slow and then allow my slow things to be faster than them and kill them. So there are three Pokemon on this team that can set up paralysis. I'm using my lead Dunsparce, which is one that I did a set video on a couple weeks ago, which has Body Slam, Aqua Tail, Stealth Rock, and Roost, so it can paralyze things with Body Slam with Serene Grace. I also have Thunder Wave on my Emolga and my Grumpig, and then I have a Roar, Scald, Rest, Sleep, Talk Wailord, which is my favorite Wailord set to run, which can be very useful against baton pass teams and other things that set up. Marowak is just there to do a ton of damage once everything is paralyzed, because it'll then be faster than everything and just kill stuff, because that's what Marowak does. And then my Volbeat is there. It has Tail Glow and Baton Pass, so not only can I make use of the special attack boost that I get from Tail Glow, since it makes you at +3, I can also Baton Pass that out to other things on my team. So it's really fun to use, and I just wanted to give you a video which pretty much demonstrates that. So let's jump into it right now. So to start things off, I decided to lead off with my Marowak as my opponent led off with his Relicanth. Now, knowing Relicanth can often pack Sturdy, but also kind of assuming my opponent was just going to set up Stealth Rock right away, I decided to just go for Sub to see if he would do it, and he did, which is really great for me. Now, even though it does pack Sturdy, I pack the Bone Meringue, which is really good because it breaks Sturdy, and that's very good against a lot of leads, except Relicanth is very defensive, so it is actually able to take the Bone Meringue and Waterfall my Sub to take it out. Now, me thinking that my opponent might want to switch to save the Relicanth for later, I decided to go for Substitute one more time just to kind of see if that's what my opponent would be going for. Unfortunately though, my opponent actually just stays in, goes for Waterfall. I guess they just didn't want me to get up another Sub if that was a possibility, or just kind of predicting around and really know what to do at that point. But either way, I'm able to now actually just go for another Bone Meringue, seeing that my opponent probably isn't going to be wanting to switch out anytime soon, which gives me the 6-5 lead right away at the beginning of the battle, which is really nice. Now he goes out into the Electros here, and me not really wanting to risk seeing how much damage Double Edge would do to it, I just switch out right away into my Grumpig. Grumpig is a very special guy, or a special wall, so I'm able to bring that out. Unfortunately, my opponent gets a crit right there, which is really bad for me because I take a ton more damage than I was expecting to, but it switches out on the following turn as I just go for the Thunder Wave. Now this is really great for me because now I paralyze this Leavanny, which has a super effective hit on my Marowak, but now I'm faster than it because it's paralyzed, which is really great for me, but my opponent potentially has an X-Scissor or Bug Buzz waiting for me, so I have to switch out. I was thinking more so the physical variant, so I switch out into my Dunsparce, which is more of a physical wall. And then I see my opponent go for Sub, and I'm just like, well, maybe it's Sub Swords Dance, but either way, it is paralyzed, so there's a chance that I can just set up my rocks and get out of here after I break the Sub. So first, I just go for the Body Slam to break the Sub, which is really great. As my opponent goes for the Leaf Blade, it doesn't do too much damage. I mean, I could obviously roost that off, so I'm not too worried about it. But now, seeing as my opponent is no longer behind a Sub and realizes that it can't probably do too much damage to me, I think I just go for the Stealth Rock right here, which is really good. But my opponent switches into Armaldo as this happens, and I'm just like, well, it might Rapid Spin. Sorry, there was a motorcycle that just went by, so I might as well just see if I could paralyze it with Body Slam, because I have Serene Grace, and there's a 60% chance of that happening. Luckily for me, I actually do, which is really great. And now I'm actually able to actually take this Stone Edge, which I was a little bit surprised about. I guess this is a more offensive Armaldo, but either way, knowing that my opponent can do a ton of damage to me, I decided to go for the Aqua Tail just because I figured I was going to die that turn. There's no point in going for Roost because it would have just stalled out a turn. I could have hoped for Parahax, but it's not really something I wanted to do. But either way, I go for the Aqua Tail, get a little bit of damage on the Electros as it switches in, and now I'm just like, well, I'm faster than Electros, I know that for a fact, so I can just go for another Body Slam and potentially paralyze it, which luckily I do. So that's really nice for me. Dunsparce did a ton of work just in paralyzing those things, and also allowing my slower Pokemon to now do a ton of damage. So I can bring in Marowak here, knowing that I'm going to be faster than this Armaldo, go for a Stone Edge, obviously super effective hit, so it's going to be able to take out this Armaldo, which is really great for me, because that was another Pokemon threatening my Grumpig. Now he does switch out into Charizard here, and me not really being sure what to do against this thing, I'm like, well, I might as well go out into Wailord. Hopefully he doesn't go for HP Grass. If he does go for HP Grass, I can still take one, I think. So he does go for that. My opponent predicts that really nicely. And as I see my HP going down, I'm like, there is no way it should be doing that much damage. Turns out it's a critical hit, but that's not that big of a deal. I just brought the Wailord in to just take a hit. And unfortunately I get KO'd. Now I could have just rested that off or scalded on the next turn if I didn't get that crit, so it didn't really matter too much. I guess the Charizard could have been dead, but it's not that big of a deal. But either way, I know that my opponent is probably choiced in some way because it just seemed like that. I don't know why, I was just under the impression that he was. So I bring in my Emolga, and as you saw right there, he's actually choiced Scarf because he was faster than Emolga. I just go for Volt Switch though to take it out, which is really good for me. So now I do have the opportunity to freely just go out into my Marowak now because my opponent really doesn't have too many things that are faster than it at this point because I've already paralyzed half the team. So I'm able to actually just bring this in, go for a double edge on the Leavanny. Thankfully it KOs. I think it's actually a pretty solid one-hit KO either way, but I didn't want to risk Stone Edge missing, so I just go for that, and now Muck is in. I thought maybe it was going to Shadow Sneak or something, but again I have Bone Meringue to just kill it. That's what it does. Thankfully that hits. Bone Meringue does have a chance to miss, but I like it because it can break subs and break sturdy, even though Earthquake is a little bit more reliable. And now the Electros comes in and it's paralyzed, so I'm just like, well, I can double edge it and take it out. So that pretty much gives me the victory here. Now I don't know if this was a very short battle, but either way I just wanted to kind of give you a demonstration as to how a team like this can work. And it's really awesome because, like I said, it's an alternative to Trick Room. In my opinion, if you want to use slower Pokemon, just use Pokemon that can inflict paralysis. Now, obviously, there are Pokemon that can pack Heal Bell to get rid of paralysis and things like that, so that is a problem that you face when using a team like this, just because it can remove it. Also, there are a ton of Pokemon that could be immune to paralyzing moves, like anything with Limber. Also, you know, since Thunder Wave is the primary way of paralyzing things, anything with Lightning Rod or a ground type or something like that can be difficult to deal with if you are trying to paralyze everything. But either way, that's just kind of how a team like this works. So honestly, I encourage you guys to try this out with any Pokemon you really want to use. These are just the 6 guys that I chose because I thought they were a lot of fun. This could also work incredibly well if you want to have Pokemon that have flinching moves on it, or Pokemon that have Confuse Ray and stuff like that. My Grumpig actually also has Extra Sensory and Confuse Ray, so that's a really awesome thing to use with this team because it can paralyze, confuse, and flinch, which is really awesome. But anyways, that is it for this video, so thank you all for watching. Take care, goodbye, I'll see you next time, and I encourage you to try out spamming paralysis because it's really awesome.